Started, yeah. Oh, wait for Councillor Barry a second. Will you go green, mate? Pnawn da, croeso. Good afternoon, welcome to the Cabinet meeting of Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council on Wednesday, the 11th of January 2023. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and may be broadcast by the authority's internet site. The images and sound recording may also be used for training purposes within the authority. Item 1, apologies in absence. Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. See, we have none. Item 3, Ombudsman's annual letter for Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council 2021-22. To consider the report of the Chief Executive, Councillor Andrew Barry, would you like to refer to the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. So the Ombudsman annual letter for Merthyr 21-22, obviously a retrospective report produced in August last year and can be seen in Appendix 1. Merthyr's referrals are outlined at Section 4. There's an increase in referrals, but this is in keeping with a national trend, which is upwards in complaints to the Ombudsman since the pandemic, as outlined within the letter itself. The letter contains 6 appendices that break down this authority's referrals. The highest number of complaints was about the referral process itself. There were no public interest reports produced. Merthyr had one of the lowest number of cases in Wales where the Ombudsman needed to intervene. No code of conduct referrals in relation to the authority or the community council. The report is requested to be seen by the Cabinet, hence today's report, also by at the Governance and Audit Committee, where it was presented along with the annual review and assessment of complaints handling and effectiveness report, and was given a good hearing on the 28th of November last year. The recommendation, Chair, is that the content of the Ombudsman's annual letter be noted and debated, which it has been at length, and I move the report, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Barry. Have we got a seconder?
Enough, please, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Jenkins. Have we any questions? No? Any comments? No? Yeah, it's a very positive report, and we shall take it to the vote. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the annual equality report for 2021-22. To consider the report of the Chief Executive, Councillor Barry, I believe you're taking this again.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So the annual Equality Report 21-22, retrospective report again, Chair, covering April 21 to March 22. An excellent report produced by Claire Williams and Lorna Townsend. The legislation requires this annual report of the authority to address our objectives and progress against those objectives. The report is attached at Appendix 1, laid out at 3.3 and 3.4. You'll find the outline of the protected characteristics covered within the legislation. Is important to reiterate that the Merthyr Tydfil Equality's vision before going into the achievements over the past year that obviously included the response to the COVID pandemic. A place where diversity is valued and respected, and everyone can participate, flourish, and have the opportunity to fulfill their potential, freed from discrimination and prejudice. One of our greatest achievements is related to the accessibility in relation to our website, measured by the index called the Silktide Accessibility Index. That measures inclusivity, content experience and helps drives the authority's objectives in relation to equality. In 2020, our website was assessed as very poor as at June 22. We are now the first Welsh council to be ranked in first place in all councils throughout the UK in relation to accessibility. We have Lorna, I believe. Was Lorna here today? Oh, there. With us. So to answer some questions, any questions you may have, there may be a practical support, or there has been a practical support resource pack for scrutiny members produced in 2021, which members will have had sight of by now. 2021 into 2022 has seen turmoil, disruption, new working methods, huge change in work-life balance, and the work to keep pace from an equalities perspective has been significant. Community cohesion, with a diary of emerging and existing events to commemorate, celebrate, or just give some thought to some of these issues is ever growing. Windrush Day, Hate Crime Awareness Week, Anti-Slavery Day, International Women's Day, Holocaust Memorial Day, Black History Month, Gypsy Romany Traveller Month. Our youth mayor, cabinet and schools have played a major role, Chair, in promoting equality over the last year, and are covered within the attached report, highlighting their contribution. Our contribution to the recognition of our armed forces has grown exponentially. The time of this report covers Gyfarth High School, for example. We're working towards a bronze award of the Supporting Service Children Education. They have subsequently achieved that award. The council, in the interim, have also achieved the silver award from the Ministry of Defence's Employer Recognition Scheme. Sport, Welsh language, housing, staffing, procurement, all of those areas are touched by the work of equalities, but the list is not exhaustive. I'll move to recommendation, Chair, which is quite simply the Council's annual equality report for 21-22 be approved. I move, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Parry. Have we had a seconder?
I second the report, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Simmons. Have we got any questions? No questions? Any comments? No comments? I just like to say, it is an excellent report, and it, shows the council to be in a very good light as far as equalities are concerned. So I'd like to thank the team for all the hard work that we do. And it's not just, the leaders of the council and the top officers, but it goes right through the authority. So just everybody well done, and we should take pride in becoming first in the UK with that award. So thanks, everybody. That's great. So shall we take to the vote? Thank you, Caris. The next item of the agenda is item 5, the revenue budget for 2023-24. To consider the report of the Chief Executive, Councillor Andrew Barry, would you like to take the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. And from the highs of the equality report to something a little bit more sobering. Okay, the revenue budget 23-24. First of all, Chair, I want to point out that all the recommendations here are for noting. There are no decisions to be made off the back of this report. This is just an exercise in bringing Cabinet up to speed with the current financial position as at the date of this report, 11th of January 2023, as outlined by the officers. Our provisional Welsh Government settlement, from which we get approximately 70% of our income, was announced on the 14th of December last year. That gave us a funding increase of 7% for 23-24 financial year. We were 18th out of 22 Welsh councils and keep company with Blaenau Gwent, Rhondda Cynon Taf, Caerphilly, and us. Blaenau Gwent have the highest council tax rates in Wales and some of the highest levels of deprivation. Much like ourselves in Merthyr Tydfil, we hold the unenviable position of being next in the highest council tax table to Blaenau Gwent. And why do I mention that? Because if we ever wanted proof, Chair, of the Welsh Labour government turning its back on the working class of the valleys, here it is in black and white. The bottom of the settlement table, with the most affluent authorities, Monmouth, Cardiff and the Vale of Glamorgan, topping the table with the very best settlements, as you can see in Appendix 1. That increased but poor settlement from a Pan Wales perspective has set the tone for the revenue budget report, because that's just about the best news it contains. Appendix 2, page 80 of your papers, gives you the reason for the settlement as it stands, drawn from our key data sets. But it is with Welsh Labour Government's power to change that mechanism, as it is to change to a fairer council tax system, but with both vital financial lifelines to the people of the South Wales valleys. Nothing has changed. So we find ourselves back having to overcome massive financial deficits. The revised budget deficit for 23-24 is over £11 million, broken down at table 1, page 74 of your papers. Steve further breaks down the figure throughout the report. Section 3 gives the rationale to that figure, highlighting rising energy costs, the situation in Ukraine, Brexit, inflationary impact on the sector, sectors reopening following the COVID lockdowns. The UK is currently experiencing a recession and expect to be in recession. Expect the recession to last till the end of 22-23. There are the pressures we and every other authority have across the UK, and that's what we're experiencing. In essence, the Conservatives have driven the economy off the cliff. Labour have shown through their settlement they have very little thought for the people of Merthyr Tydfil, so it is left to this administration and our officers to get this sorted out. The settlement is dealt with in Section 5, giving further detail of the key pressures. Appendix 3 on page 81 deals with the impact on the medium-term financial plan, with Appendix 4, pages 82 to 85 of your papers, giving a comprehensive list of additional demands by description and financial implication over the medium-term financial plan. The report covers, with Appendix 5, a comprehensive breakdown of the real living wage issues for our care workers and the uplift which they so richly deserve. The report concludes with an analysis of the inflationary pressures we have at present at Appendix 6 from pages 90 to 93. I have to stress this is the worst case scenario, and we will now, as an executive and members of Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council, mitigate all we can to give the people of Merthyr the best outcome from this dire position. The recommendations are 2.1 to 2.5. 2.1, the implications of the provisional local government settlement for 23-24 outlined in Section 5 and Appendices 1 and 3 be noted. 2.2, the net additional demands outlined in Section 5 and Appendix 4 be noted. 2.3, the real living wage for care workers, additional costs outlined in Section 5 and Appendix 5 be noted. 2.4, the inflationary impact outlined in Section 5 and Appendix 6 be noted. And finally, 2.5, the revised budget deficit of 11.035 million for 23-24 also be noted. I move, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Barry. Have we had a seconder, please? Councillor Hughes.
I'd like to second that, please, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Have we got any questions on the report? No questions? Any comments? No comments? Okay, we'll take it to the vote. Thank you. Item 6 of this afternoon's agenda is the ECO4 Flexible and Eligibility Memorandum of Understanding and Joint Statement of Interest. Thanks to the report of the Deputy Chief Executive Councillor Michelle Simmons, would you like to refer to the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. As laid out, ECO4 Flexible Eligibility Memorandum of Understanding and Joint Statement of Intent. Report authors Alex Stevens and Sean Lyons, and I believe Sean is joining us via Teams should there be any questions. As laid out in the report, the summary 1.1 and 1.2, this report seeks an agreement in principle to work in partnership with Cardiff Capital Region and E.ON Energy Solutions Limited, the energy supplier chosen to work within the Merthyr Tydfil region, through an agreed memorandum of understanding, which is detailed in Appendix A. 1.2, to adopt and implement the Cardiff Capital Region's joint statement of intent at Appendix B that will allow the Council to participate in the most recent iteration of the Energy Company Obligation, as known as ECO, scheme known as ECO4, and the Local Authority Flexible Eligibility Energy Company Obligation, and the acronym for that is ECOFlex. As set out in 3.2 in the body of the report, the Energy Company Obligation Scheme has seen 4 iterations since 2013, ECO 1, ECO 2 and ECO 3. The ECO 3 scheme closed on the 31st of March 2022 and the Energy Company Obligation 4, or ECO 4, came into force in July 2022. ECO4 applies to measures installed from the 1st of April 2022 and will cover a 4-year period until the 31st of March 2026. Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council did not previously participate in the earlier ECO schemes, and at 3.7 the report details that ECO4 aligns with the 2 Cardiff Capital Region's ambitions. Number 1, alleviating fuel poverty, and 2, energy efficiency retrofit of the domestic housing stock to contribute to the Cardiff Capital Region's net zero targets. At 3.15, ECO4 will align to the Councillor's objectives in the corporate plan. At 2.1 and 2.2, the recommendations are to work in principle in partnership with the Cardiff Capital Region and E.ON through an agreed memorandum of understanding to be agreed. And 2.2, the Cardiff Capital Region's joint statement of intent and its participation in the ECO4 Flex scheme be implemented and adopted. I move, Chair.
Thank you very much. Have we got a second, please?
Happy to second that, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Have we got any questions on the report? I've got one. As I'm not taking the report, I'm in the chair. Either to Sean or to Alan, really. Just, could you explain, to everybody what a great scheme this is for the people of Merthyr Tydfil, please?
Alan, do you want me to take that?
Yes, please. Go on.
Okay. So principally, as I said in the report, this hasn't been. This is the voluntary scheme that the authorities all would like to participate in. Previously, as I said, we as authority hasn't participated in it. However, this current scheme now is an all-inclusive kind of scheme. It's an all-home kind of scheme. So whereas previously we've seen other schemes, for example, Nest and Arbed, where they maybe do 1 or 2 kind of, sorry, my words are gone, 1 or 2 implementations into the house. So, for example, either windows or roof or whatever. This one is for the whole house. The scheme as it works at the moment, whereas we have got this agreement with E.ON and EDF, they are basically doing the legwork for this for the council. So they are predominantly finding individuals that fall within the criteria. So what they will try and do then is they will try and find the very best solution for individuals, all depending on their own circumstances. So for example, if somebody is unable to have the Eco4 scheme, where it's the whole house and numerous implementations into the house. They will then maybe filter down and offer a different scheme, or they will try to provide as best as they can for the individuals. So in this climate, I think, it's really important that we do join this scheme, so we can give our community the best really that they can.
Sorry, Leader, if I come in on the back of Sian as well. So in terms of the challenges for the people of Merthyr Tydfil, obviously the cost of living crisis is extreme at the moment, and obviously energy costs are a particular challenge. The Eco4 is a potential intervention that will help with that. So we see it as a real positive. Obviously, it's collectively seen from a CCR perspective, all 10 authorities are backing this initiative, and therefore, to answer your question directly, for the people of Merthyr Tydfil, there is an opportunity to help with the cost of living crisis, which is in line with everything we're trying to do and the principles of this authority and how we support our residents. Good bit of news, as just refer everybody to the financial implications in section 7 of the report, where we were seeking funding to support the role. We have now, and Alan will correct me, the funding has come through in terms of additional poverty funding, which we had acknowledgement earlier this week. So that allows us to secure the post going forward, and obviously we'd be combining this post in terms of initiative looking at how we support on our wider poverty agenda as well.
Thank you very much. Real positive news, really. Any comments from anyone?
Can I
Oh, yes, Councillor Bunny.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick one to either Sian or Alan. We've seen as the report alludes to, we've seen various versions of this previously. Does any participation by our residents in the previous schemes deny them access to the scheme, or can they reapply for something?
No, that's not applicable. So it's a totally different scheme. Most of the previous schemes, Arbed, as an example, was European funded.
Can I just add on to that as well? Providing that they fall within the categories that they are eligible for the scheme, the point of this Eco4 is that we're trying to increase. I'm trying to making sure I say this the right way now. Increase the energy performance certificates, the EPCs. So at the moment, there's ratings. I don't know if you buy a new house, there's ratings on your homes of efficiency. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to create opportunities so that people's households are increased by 2 ratings. So they are focusing on people with the very low ratings of D, of G and F maybe, because they've got to take them up 2 ratings. So if anybody's had any previous work done, providing there's still that opportunity, this is my understanding, they fit the criteria and there's still the opportunity that they can increase their home EPCs by 2, or their SAP ratings by 2 scores, then they're able to join the scheme.
Great news. Great news for everyone. Thank you very much. Any comments from anybody? No, we'll take it to the vote then. Thank you very much. Item 7 of the agenda is engineering projects updates. I recommend people to read that information report. There's a lot of work going on in the engineering department, and some real technical and specialist work taking place in the borough. I think I recommend that. Item 8 is a biodiversity and green space management. Again, a lot of work going on throughout the borough. Worth a good read. Item 9, to deal with any other urgent business deemed urgent by the chair. I haven't any. So I thank everyone for their attendance today and bring the meeting to a close. Thank you.